right. So we've talked about 3 stories. But now let's talk about 5 scientific tools that will help you improve your faith. 5 strategic tools that will help you find the way to make it in adversity. 5 strategic tools that will help you make a difference in your life. Because science has brought us some interesting things. We have printers now that can print things out of thin air. I mean, we can print stuff. You can get a printer, you're missing a washing machine part, you print it. If you want an iPhone case, you print it. Home Depot is selling these now online and in select stores like Chicago and New York City. It's amazing. You know, you feel like in a few years you're going to print out your turkey dinner. It's pretty incredible. And they've got these virtual reality goggles. So you put these things on, they have a different lens for each eye, so everything you see is in 3D, even though you're in this different world. And as you move around, it moves around with you, so you really feel immersed in it. In fact, there are people that have used this that said, you know, there's no way to describe it, but it's absolutely incredible. It's amazing. This is such an interesting technology. Facebook paid $2 billion to acquire this type of technology. Absolutely amazing. But what I want to show you today is something science has brought us, a mind control device. It's a device that can actually control how you feel, what you think. It's amazing. You wouldn't think that we'd be here today, but some of this other technology, it's what we have. It's incredible. I've got one right here, because I know you're looking at me thinking, what in the world? But I've got one. I actually brought one with me. Amazing, huh? Right? I'm getting blank stares. Why is that? Okay. I'm guessing you don't know how this works. It's absolutely incredible. Here's the deal. So in the book, Thinking Fast and Slow, researcher Daniel Kahneman talks about a study they did with college students. And in this study, they split these students into 2 groups. The first group was asked to take a pencil and put it in their mouth lengthwise, like this. The second group was asked to take the pencil and put it in the mouth at the end, like this. And then they were asked to rate Far Side cartoons. This is the interesting part. The people that put the pencil in their mouth lengthwise, forming a smile, rated the cartoons much funnier than the people that held it forming a frown. See, we like to think that we're happy, therefore we smile, but we don't realize the way the brain works. This is actually called priming. And what it shows is there is association. So even the association of smiling tells our brain, oh, we must be happy. Try it now. Put a smile on your face. You'll notice you have a pleasant feeling when you do it. So what does this tell us about faith? Well, it tells us something very interesting. Because we like to think that things work in a certain way. But if you think about faith, if you think about the way you look at faith, you realize that it can actually make an impact in your life. When you believe something will be better, it can actually impact the way you feel about it. When you believe things will be good and it starts to bring out a good attitude in you, that can actually affect the way you act, which can in turn affect what you do. Very interesting. Even more interesting is how much smarter I can be if I put on this white jacket. Don't I look smarter? This white jacket can actually make me do better on tests. Or more specifically, what I believe this jacket to represent can make me do better on tests. Let me explain. In the book, You Are Now Less Dumb, there is a study that was cited where they took different tests and they gave them to 2 groups of people. In fact, the study is very simple. I'm going to give you a few of these different tests that they did right now. We're going to look at several slides, and what I want you to do is just think in your own mind, not out loud, but in your own mind, think of the color of the word. Okay? Don't think of what the word says, think of the color of the word. Pretty simple? Everybody ready? 6 slides, here we go. All right, anybody notice those last three tried to trip you up? Right? So these are the tests they took. These tests were just interesting tests to see how long people reacted. So they separated people into two groups, and everything they gave them was identical. Basically the same test, the same white jacket, with one key difference. One group, they told the white jacket was a doctor's coat. The other group, they told it was a painter's smock. The group that they gave the doctor's coat to did much better on the tests than those they gave the painter's smock to. Their belief in what the coat represented actually impacted their ability to perform the test. Absolutely amazing. Everything was the same, just their belief was different. Did you know that a can of paint can curb crime? Okay, let me demonstrate. To demonstrate this, I need somebody from the audience to volunteer to come at me. Nobody? Okay. No, that's not how it works. So here's what happens. There is a mayor of Tirana, Albania. He was a mayor from 2000 till 2011. And what he did is he had a plan. When he became mayor, he decided he was going to change the city. He was going to transform it. So what was his plan? Was he going to hire a bunch more policemen? No. Was he going to upgrade tourism so they would fill the coffers with money from everywhere? No. His plan was different. He started a beautification project. What they did is they added 1 million square feet of new grasslands and parks, 1,800 new trees, and paint. They went to all the buildings, these dark, drab, gray buildings, and painted them and made the city more vibrant. And here's what he said about the outcome. When colors came out everywhere, a mood of change started transforming the spirit of the people. People started to drop less litter in the streets. They started to pay taxes. They started to feel something they'd forgotten. Beauty was giving people a feeling of being protected. This was not a misplaced feeling. Crime did fall. Absolutely incredible. Crime fell from a can of paint. But what's interesting is the story he tells about a shopkeeper he bumped into. One day I remember walking along a street that had just been colored and where we were in the process of planting trees, when I saw a shopkeeper and his wife putting a glass facade to their chute. They had thrown the old shutter in the garbage collection place. "Why did you throw away the shutter?" I asked him. "Well, because the street is safer now," they answered. "Safer? Why?" "Have they posted more policemen here?" "Come on, man. What policemen? You can see it for yourselves. The color, streetlights, new pavement, no potholes, trees. So it's beautiful. It's safe." The only difference was how the city looked. And yet it changed the attitude of the people. They had a belief that their city was a better place. And that belief changed actions for the better. Did you know that a newspaper could unfold new possibilities? See what I did there? Anyway. So, in one particular situation, Dr. Richard Wiseman put together a book. And what he did is a bunch of studies with people that considered themselves lucky or unlucky. He broke them into those two groups. And then he did a lot of experiments, but there's one that I just find fascinating. And it basically revolves around a newspaper. He told them to go through the newspaper and tell him how many photographs were in the newspaper. The people that considered themselves unlucky took about 2 minutes on average to go through the newspaper. The people that considered themselves lucky took just a few seconds. So what's the difference? I mean, that's a huge difference. What happened? It's very simple. On the second page of the paper, in big bold font, it said, "Stop counting. There are 43 photographs in this paper." See, lucky people have a radar for possibility. They are focused on what can go right. They are on the lookout for something good to happen. There are so many things in life that our brain has to process, so many things going on, so many things that we've got to deal with. And so we've got to find the right things to focus on. We need to find out what's important and focus on those good things. I'm sure we've all driven down roads. You've driven 100 times, and it just seems like the same road. And then all of a sudden you take up a new activity, maybe horseback riding, maybe learning a guitar, something like that. You drive down that road and all of a sudden you notice horses you never saw before. You notice guitar stores that you never realized were there. Because our brain is only focusing on the important things for us. And when our focus changes, that can change other things too. And if we can start focusing on possibilities and the things we want out of life, faith can give us the right tools to get in that direction. For instance, there's a possibility in this room that nobody took advantage of. Right there. $20 to anybody that saw that possibility, but I get to keep it. And finally, I want to talk to you about how jelly reveals how you can fight procrastination. Like I said, there are all these choices in the world. There are all these different things that are grabbing our attention. If you go down the grocery aisle and you look for toothpaste, you're going to find 50, 60, 100 different types of toothpaste. Huge amount of choice. But is all this choice good? You know, that was a question that Columbia professor Sheena Iyengar wanted to know. So she set up a series of tests. She went into grocery stores and set up an area with a bunch of jellies that people could try. You've been there. They have a new salsa they want you to try or a new frozen pizza. You get to sample it out, see if it's any good. Same type of thing. She set up 6 different jellies right there. So how did that work? Well, out of all the people that went through, about 4 out of every 10 people participated. So that's pretty good. That's a pretty good turnaround, right? How many people actually made a decision and took action? 3 out of 10. Not bad. Not bad. I think that worked pretty well. So did she. In fact, she thought, that was great. Let's quadruple it. Let's do 24 jellies. See how that works. So that's what they did. And they put out 24 jellies. And what they found is instead of 4 out of 10 people coming by, 6 out of 10 people came by. We love new experiences. We love finding new things out. But what does that mean for decision, for taking action? It's not good. 3% of people actually bought. Because at the end of the day, too many choices can overwhelm us. There are so many things out there, if we don't gain focus on the important things, we can get in trouble and we can feel overwhelmed. And that can really be a struggle. In fact, it's been said that being overwhelmed is a start of procrastination because you don't know where to start. You don't know where to begin. There's so much going on, it just feels overwhelming. So instead of getting to that point of being overwhelmed and having to fight procrastination, here's a simple tool you can use. Limit your choices. Get your focus, limit your choices. Get your choices down to 3 when you have to make decisions. And in fact, here's what leaders do. Leaders grab the information quickly, they narrow their choices quickly, and then they make a decision quickly. The way they look at it is like this. It's not about making the right decision. It's about making the decision I make right. Let me explain. Let's say you have 3 choices, A, B, and C. And you decide you're going to wait until you have all the facts to make sure you have the best choice. Let's say the best choice is A. You've got 6 months to do something. The first 2 months you wait to make a decision, and then you make it. Now you've only got 4 months to do whatever you need to do to make that happen. If instead you chose option B, even if it's not as good a choice, you would have 6 months to work on it instead of 4, therefore making it the better choice. So it's much better to narrow your choices quickly, get the information, and make that choice, and then make that choice the right one. So we've started our story. We've talked about the conflict, but every story needs to have a point where the main character, and that's you, comes to a point of insight. So let's look at that. Let's look at what kind of insight we can get to help us as we look at those 5 strategic tools. Think about 2 or 3 of the tools we've talked about that may help you deal with that conflict that you have, that issue that you're struggling with. And just to recap so you remember, we're going to look at those 5 tools again. Attitude. If you have a positive attitude, smile. Think of things in a positive light. Remember that the way you carry yourself, the way you hold yourself, makes an impact not so much on others, that's not the important thing, it makes an impact on you. The way you carry yourself and feel about yourself is important. It affects you. And your surroundings. If you're in a place that feels oppressive and overwhelming, that's tough. Find a way to brighten it up. Find a way to make it better. Remember to keep your focus strong. Remember to focus on what you want. It's very important. And finally, don't let yourself get overwhelmed. Limit your choices and make a decision. And don't wait too long on making that decision. So take a few quick minutes and see if 1 or 2 of those tools can at least help you get that moment of insight to lead you to a better place for that thing you're struggling with.